Explosions echoed through the alien flagship as systems failed. Emergency pods shot away from the dying vessel. In the chaos, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun fought their way to a small shuttle. "Do you know how to fly this?" Mina asked as they climbed inside. "I'll figure it out," Do-Yun said. His eyes glowed brighter now, and his movements were faster, more precise. The dormant genes in his DNA were fully active. As Do-Yun worked the controls, Jiho noticed Commander Trell limping toward them, his uniform torn and burned. "Wait," Jiho said. "We should take him with us." "Are you crazy?" Mina asked. "He tried to destroy our planet. We might need him," Jiho insisted. "And we're not like them. We don't leave people to die." Do-Yun nodded and opened the shuttle door. "Commander, get in if you want to live." Trell hesitated, then climbed aboard. The shuttle launched just as a massive explosion tore through the flagship's main reactor. On Earth, Defense Minister Sunwoo watched the battle from the command center. The alien flagship was breaking apart, and the remaining enemy ships were retreating. "Sir," a young officer reported, "we're detecting a small shuttle heading toward us. It's broadcasting on our frequency." "Put it through," Sunwoo ordered. Jiho's voice filled the room. "This is Dr. Han Jiho. We're coming home, Minister. And we've brought a guest." 2 hours later, the shuttle landed at a military base outside Seoul. Soldiers surrounded it, weapons ready. When the door opened, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun walked out with Commander Trell between them. Sunwoo stepped forward. "Welcome home, my friends." In the weeks that followed, a remarkable thing happened. The genetic changes in the enhanced soldiers didn't fade as expected. Instead, they stabilized. Even more surprising, some civilians began showing similar changes. Gold-tinged eyes appeared in people around the world. "It's spreading," Dr. Kang explained during a meeting with world leaders. "The dormant genes are activating naturally, as if they sense they're needed now." "Is it dangerous?" someone asked. "No," Jiho answered. "It's evolution. These abilities were always in our DNA, waiting for the right time. The aliens thought they were flaws, but they were actually our next step forward." Commander Trell, now a prisoner but treated humanely, was astonished by what was happening. "This is unprecedented," he told Jiho during an interview. "No species should be able to evolve this rapidly. The Confederation Council feared humans for exactly this reason." "And now?" Joe asked. Trell looked out the window at the busy Seoul street below. "Now they fear you even more, but they also respect you." The remaining fleet has returned to Confederation space to report what happened here. 6 months after the battle, representatives from the Stellar Confederation returned to Earth. This time, they came to negotiate, not to conquer. In a grand hall in the United Nations building, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun sat with Earth's leaders. Across from them, alien delegates from 12 species waited nervously. A new alien, Admiral John, spoke first. "The Confederation wishes to extend formal recognition of Earth as a sovereign power in this sector of space. We apologize for our previous actions." Jiho nodded. "We accept your apology, but we will need guarantees this won't happen again." "Of course," Admiral John said quickly. "We propose a treaty, and perhaps cultural exchanges. We have much to learn from each other." Later, as they walked through a park in Seoul, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun reflected on how much had changed. "1/3 of Earth's population now shows some level of enhancement," Mina said. "And the number grows every day. The aliens wanted to fix what they saw as flaws in our DNA," Do-Yun said. "Instead, they woke up abilities we never knew we had." Jiho looked up at the night sky, where stars twinkled alongside the lights of alien ships now peacefully orbiting Earth. "They searched our DNA for flaws," he said with a smile. "But they uncovered weapons instead. And now those weapons have become bridges to a new future. Above them, the stars seem to shine a little brighter, welcoming humanity to its new place in the galaxy. "Take them to secure quarters," Commander Trell ordered. The guards moved forward with devices that looked like handcuffs. Do-Young tensed, ready to fight, but Jiho shook his head slightly. Now was not the time. The guards led them through the ship to a new section they hadn't seen before. They were placed in a large room with 3 beds, a small bathroom, and no windows. The door locked behind them with a soft click. "What now?" Minna asked, her voice shaking slightly. "They underestimate us," Jiho said. "That's their first mistake." Do-Young walked around the room, checking every corner. "No visible cameras, but I'm sure they're watching us." Jiho smiled. "Good thing we planned for this possibility." When they first suspected the aliens' true intentions, they had created a backup plan. Each night, Minna had been secretly copying key files and research. She had hidden the data chips in places the aliens wouldn't think to look. "Did you bring it?" Joe asked her quietly. Minna nodded and pulled out a small object from her hair. It looked like a simple clip, but inside was a powerful tool Do-Young had created from alien technology he had borrowed during his explorations of the ship. "Will it work?" she asked. "Only one way to find out," Do-Young said. Meanwhile, Commander Trell was meeting with the ship's council. 5 alien leaders sat around a table, faces serious. "The humans discovered our plans too soon," one said. "We should accelerate the timeline." Trell nodded. "The atmospheric modification ships are ready. We can begin in 3 days." "What about the 3 humans we have on board?" another asked. "They are contained," Trell assured them. "Their rooms are secured with our most advanced biometric locks." Back in their room, Do-Young had opened the small hair clip. Inside was a device that could mimic biometric signatures. He had created it after studying how the alien security systems worked. "The aliens have 6-point authentication," Do-Young explained as he worked. "Fingerprints, eye scans, voice recognition, body temperature, pheromone detection, and brainwave patterns. How can we fake all that?" Minna asked. Do-Young smiled. "We don't need to. The system has a weakness. It was designed for multiple species, so it has to be flexible. If we can confuse it with mixed signals, it might default to an open state." It took hours of careful work. They took turns watching the door while Do-Young modified the device. Finally, he was ready. "Stand back," he said. He placed the device against the door lock and activated it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the lock flashed red, yellow, and finally green. The door slid open. "Quick," Joe whispered. "We need to reach the communication center." They moved carefully through the corridors, hiding whenever aliens approached. Do-Young led the way, having memorized the ship's layout during his explorations. The communication center was guarded by 2 aliens. Minna pulled out a small spray bottle from her pocket. "What's that?" Joe asked. "Something I made in the lab," she explained, "based on what we learned about their biology. It should make them very sleepy very quickly." When the guards weren't looking, Minna sprayed the substance into the air vent leading to their station. Within minutes, both guards were slumped over, fast asleep. Inside the communication center, Jiho quickly began typing. They had to send a complete message to Earth with everything they had learned. "Hurry," Do-Young said, watching the door. "We don't have much time." Jiho sent the message, including all the data about human DNA's special properties and the aliens' weaknesses. He added one final note. "The invasion begins in 3 days. Prepare defenses. Target their environmental systems. They cannot adapt to rapid changes." Just as he finished, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. "They know we've escaped," Minna said. Do-Young pointed to a map on the wall. "There's a shuttle bay 2 levels down. If we can reach it." The door slid open. Commander Trell stood there with 6 armed guards. "I'm disappointed," Trell said. "Though I must admit, I'm impressed you escaped. It seems we underestimated human ingenuity." "You underestimated a lot about humans," Jiho said. And that will be your biggest mistake. We need to see what's in that file, Do-hyun said as they met in Mina's room that night. They kept their voices low. None of them trusted that their rooms weren't being watched. It's locked behind security I can't break, Mina explained. We need higher access. Jiho thought for a moment. Dr. Len seems to trust me. Maybe I can get his access card when he's not looking. Too risky, Do-hyun shook his head. If they catch you, who knows what they'll do to us. I have another idea, Mina said. The night shift in the lab has fewer people, and I noticed that Len often leaves his station logged in when he takes breaks. They made a plan. Mina would work late, claiming she needed extra time on her research. Jiho and Do-hyun would create a distraction if needed. The next night, Mina sat at her workstation long after the others had left. Only 2 alien scientists remained, working across the large lab. She pretended to focus on her screen while watching Dr. Len from the corner of her eye. At 11:30 p.m., Len stretched and walked toward the break room. Mina counted to 20, then casually moved to his station. His screen was still active. Her heart pounded as she quickly searched for the file. She found it in a folder labeled Species Threat Assessment. She copied the file to a small device she had hidden in her sleeve. Just as she finished, she heard footsteps. She quickly moved back to her station, pretending to be focused on her work. Working late again, Dr. Kim? Len asked, returning with a drink. Yes, human DNA is so complex, she smiled. I lose track of time. An hour later, safely back in Do-hyun's room, they reviewed what Mina had found. The files were extensive. This is worse than we thought, Jiho said, his face pale as he read. They're not here to help us. They're studying us because they think we're dangerous. The files reveal that the Stellar Confederation had encountered thousands of species. They classified each one based on genetic stability and threat level. Humans were labeled Class 1 unpredictable, the highest risk category. They're afraid of us. Why? Do-hyun asked. Mina pointed to a section of the report. It says our DNA shows unusual aggression markers and extreme adaptation capabilities. They think we're too violent and unpredictable to be trusted as equals. Jiho read further. According to this, they've done this before. When they find species they consider unstable, they either restrict them to their home planets, or he stopped. Or what? Do-hyun pressed. Or they introduce genetic modifications to make them more docile. The room went silent as they absorbed this information. The containment protocols, Mina whispered. That's their plan for Earth. Do-hyun stood up, his face hard. We need to warn our people. How? Joe asked. All communications to Earth are monitored. The supply shuttle, Do-hyun said. It returns to Earth tomorrow. We can hide a data chip on it. They worked through the night, copying the most important files and encrypting them. Mina wrote a clear summary explaining what they had discovered. The next morning, Do-hyun volunteered to help load research samples onto the shuttle. No one questioned when he briefly checked a container to ensure it was secure. The data chip was safely hidden inside. That afternoon, Commander Trull called them to a meeting. His usually smooth manner seemed strained. We are accelerating our research schedule, he announced. We will begin atmospheric testing next week. What kind of testing? Joe asked carefully. Nothing harmful, Trull said quickly. Just some measurements. But Jiho saw the look Trull exchanged with Dr. Len. They were lying. As they left the meeting, Mina whispered, Do you think they know we accessed their files? I don't know, Jiho replied. But we need to be ready for anything. They watched through a viewport as the supply shuttle departed for Earth, carrying their warning. It seemed so small against the vastness of space. The next few days were tense. Jiho, Mina, and Do-hyun tried to act normal while working in the lab. They didn't know if their message had reached Earth or if anyone would believe them. Jiho spent hours studying the alien research on human DNA. Something didn't make sense. The more he looked at the Confederation's findings, the more confused he became. "Minna, look at this," he whispered one day when they were alone in a corner of the lab. "The aliens keep marking these gene sequences as flaws." Minna looked at his screen. "Those are stress response genes. They help humans survive in hard conditions." "Exactly. But the aliens see them as dangerous mutations." Joe pointed to more data. "And here, they've flagged our healing abilities as unstable." Mina's eyes widened. "They're wrong. Those aren't flaws. They're advantages." That night, Joe couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about what they had discovered. He got up and began reviewing more of the alien data on his tablet. Hours later, as morning approached, Joe sat up straight. "That's it," he whispered to himself. When Mina and Do-Yun came to his room for breakfast, Jiho could barely contain his excitement. "I figured it out," he said, keeping his voice low. "What the aliens think are flaws in our DNA are actually our greatest strengths." He showed them his findings. Human DNA had unique patterns that allowed for rapid adaptation. While other species evolved slowly over millions of years, humans could adapt within generations. The Confederation species evolved on stable planets, Jiho explained. Earth has always been changing. Ice ages, natural disasters, changing climates. We evolved to survive constant change. "So what we see as normal, they see as dangerous," Do-Yun said. "Yes, and there's more." Joe pulled up another file. "I've been studying the aliens' own genetic data. Their species are all very specialized, very stable, but that means they're vulnerable." "Vulnerable how?" Minna asked. "They can't handle sudden changes in environment. Many of them would get sick just breathing our air or eating our food." Joe looked at them seriously. "We're more resilient than they are." Do-Yun considered this. "So if they think we're dangerous, it's because we are, to them," Joe finished. "Not because we're violent, but because we can adapt to almost anything. They can't control that." Later that day, while Jiho worked in the lab, Do-Yun pulled him aside. "I've been exploring parts of the ship," he whispered. "There's something you should see." After work, Do-Yun led Jiho and Minna down a corridor they hadn't visited before. Using a security card he had somehow obtained, Do-Yun opened a door marked Environmental Systems. Inside was a large room filled with containers and machines. "What is all this?" Minna asked. "Components for their atmospheric testing," Do-Yun said grimly. "But it's not just testing. These are delivery systems for airborne particles." Jiho examined one of the containers. "These are genetic modifiers. They're designed to trigger changes in DNA when inhaled." "They're planning to change us all," Minna whispered, her face pale. "We need to get back to Earth," Do-Yun said. "Now." As they turned to leave, the door opened. Commander Trell stood there with 2 security guards. "Dr. Han, Dr. Kim, Captain Park," Trell said coldly. "I see you've discovered our preparation area." "You're planning to modify humans without our consent," Jiho said, trying to keep his voice steady. Trell's face showed no emotion. "It's for your own good. Your species is too unstable, too dangerous to join the galactic community as you are." "We know the truth," Minna said boldly. "What you call flaws are our strengths." "You've accessed restricted files," Trell said. "That is unfortunate. I'm afraid we'll have to confine you until the process is complete." The guards moved forward. "Our message already reached Earth," Do-Yun bluffed. "They know what you're planning." For the first time, Trell looked uncertain. Jiho knew they had to escape and warn Earth before it was too late. In a secure underground facility beneath Seoul, 20 soldiers from Korea's Special Forces lay on medical beds. Captain Yoon, their leader, watched as doctors prepared equipment around them. "Will it hurt?" one young soldier asked. Defense Minister Sunwoo stepped forward. "Yes, we won't lie to you. But you're our best hope." Dr. Kang checked the settings on a large machine that filled one wall of the room. It would emit the exact light frequencies needed to activate the dormant genes in human DNA. Remember, Dr. Kang said to the soldiers, your bodies will feel like they're on fire for about 2 minutes. Try to remain still. After that, the pain will stop, and you'll begin to feel the changes. Similar scenes played out in facilities across the world. In total, 500 specially selected soldiers had volunteered for the treatment. If it worked, they would be humanity's first defense against the coming invasion. Minister Sunwoo nodded to Dr. Kang. Begin. The room filled with pulsing light. The soldiers' bodies tensed, and some cried out in pain. Sunwoo wanted to look away but forced himself to watch. These brave men and women were sacrificing for all of humanity. After 2 minutes, the light stopped. The soldiers lay still, breathing heavily. Captain Yoon was the first to sit up. His eyes, normally brown, now had a slight gold glow. How do you feel? Sunwoo asked. Different, Yoon said, looking at his hands. Stronger. I can see better, hear things I couldn't before. One by one, the other soldiers sat up. All showed the same changes. The treatment had worked. Dr. Kang ran tests on each soldier. Their strength had doubled. Their reaction times were 3 times faster. They could hear whispers from across the room and see in near darkness. These abilities were always in our DNA, Dr. Kang explained to Sunwoo. Dormant potential, waiting for the right trigger. Will it last? Sunwoo asked. We don't know, but it should last long enough for what we need. Above Earth, the alien fleet prepared for their mission. 50 ships moved into position around the planet, ready to release the genetic modification particles. In Commander Trell's chambers, Jiho, Mina, and Doyeon watched the fleet's movements on a large screen. We need to buy Earth more time, Jiho whispered. Any ideas? Mina nodded toward a control panel near the door. That connects to the ship's systems. If I could access it, maybe I could create a problem with their launch sequence. How do we distract the guards? Doyeon asked. Jiho looked around the room, thinking hard. Then he noticed the environmental controls. The aliens are sensitive to temperature changes, right? Very, Mina confirmed. Even small changes make them uncomfortable. Then let's make them uncomfortable, Jiho said with a smile. Using his knowledge of the ship's systems, Jiho managed to override the room's temperature settings. The temperature began to rise quickly. Within minutes, the guards outside were shifting uncomfortably. Their skin began to change color, a sign of distress in their species. Now, Jiho whispered. Mina called out to the guards. Please help. Something's wrong with the air in here. When one guard opened the door, Doyeon was ready. Using the fighting skills that had made him a top military officer, he quickly disabled both guards. Mina rushed to the control panel and began typing rapidly. I need 2 minutes. Hurry, Jiho said, watching the corridor. On Earth, the enhanced soldiers were boarding special aircraft designed to reach the lower limits of space. Each carried weapons developed specifically to target the aliens' weaknesses. Captain Yoon addressed his team before takeoff. We are humanity's first defense. Our mission is to disable as many enemy ships as possible before they can release their payload. As the aircraft prepared to launch, Minister Sunwoo received an urgent message. Sir, our satellites detect the alien fleet is moving into final position. They're starting earlier than expected. Sunwoo looked grim. Launch all units now, and may luck be with them. Back on the alien flagship, Mina finished her work on the control panel. Done, she said triumphantly. I sent conflicting commands to half their fleet. It should cause confusion for at least an hour. Good work, Jiho said. Now we need to find a way off this ship. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the vessel. Commander Trell's voice came over the speakers. All personnel to battle stations. Earth defenses have launched. We are under attack. Space around Earth filled with light as the first human fighters met the alien ships. Captain Yoon led his squadron directly toward the largest alien vessel. His enhanced vision could see details of the ship that would have been impossible before. "Remember your training," he told his team through the radio. "Target their environmental systems. They cannot handle rapid changes." The alien ships fired energy weapons that lit up the darkness. 2 human fighters exploded instantly, but the enhanced pilots had faster reflexes now. They dodged and weaved between the energy beams. Yoon's fighter reached the first alien ship. He fired special missiles designed to penetrate the hull and release compounds that would disrupt the aliens' carefully controlled environment. Inside the alien flagship, Commander Trell watched the battle with growing concern. Humans were not supposed to have such advanced weapons or such skilled pilots. "How are they evading our targeting systems?" he demanded. An alien officer looked up from his screen. "Sir, their movements are too fast and unpredictable. And these attacks, they are specifically targeting our life support systems." Trell slammed his fist on the control panel. "They knew exactly where to hit us." "How?" Then his eyes widened. "The prisoners." In another part of the ship, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun ran through corridors, trying to reach the shuttle bay. Alarms blared around them, and alien crew members rushed in all directions. "This way," Do-Yun said, leading them down a side passage. They rounded a corner and froze. 5 armed guards blocked their path. "Stop where you are," the lead guard ordered. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered and went out, replaced by dim emergency lighting. In the confusion, Do-Yun moved with surprising speed, disarming one guard and using his weapon against the others. "How did you do that?" Mina asked as they continued running. "I don't know," Do-Yun said, looking confused. "I just reacted faster than normal." Jiho looked at him closely in the dim light. "Your eyes, they have a gold tint, just like the enhanced soldiers on Earth," Mina whispered. "But how?" Do-Yun asked. "The light frequencies in the ship during the battle," Jiho realized. "They must be similar to what Earth is using to activate the dormant genes. It's happening to you naturally." They reached the shuttle bay and found it in chaos. Damaged ships were returning from battle, and medical teams rushed to help injured crew members. "We need to take one of those smaller ships," Jiho said, pointing to a row of shuttles. As they moved toward the shuttles, the main door slid open. Commander Trell entered with a squad of elite guards. "There they are," Trell shouted. "Stop them." On Earth, Defense Minister Sunwoo received reports from the battle. The enhanced soldiers were proving effective. Already, 15 alien ships had been disabled, their environmental systems compromised. "Sir," a communications officer called out, "we're detecting a massive energy buildup in the alien flagship. They appear to be preparing some kind of weapon." Sunwoo's face hardened. "Target everything we have on that flagship." In space, hundreds of missiles launched from Earth, streaking toward the alien command ship. Aboard the flagship, Jiho, Mina, and Do-Yun were surrounded by Trell and his guards. "You've lost, Commander," Jiho said calmly. "Look at your screens. Half your fleet is disabled." "It doesn't matter," Trell snarled. "Our main weapon is charged. One blast will seed Earth's entire atmosphere with our genetic modifiers. All humans will be changed." "You still don't understand us," Do-Yun said. His eyes glowed brighter now, and he stood straighter, stronger. "What you thought were flaws in our DNA are actually weapons. Weapons that are activating right now." Trell stepped back, noticing the change in Do-Yun. "What's happening to you?" Before anyone could answer, a massive impact shook the ship. Warning lights flashed everywhere. "Multiple hull breaches," an officer shouted. "Earth missiles have hit our weapon systems." Trell looked panicked. "Impossible. Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our shields." "You underestimated us," Jiho said as another explosion rocked the ship. "That was your mistake." The ship tilted as more explosions echoed through the halls. Emergency pods began launching automatically. "We need to get off this ship now," Mina said. It's coming apart. Dr. Han Jiho yawned as he looked at his computer screen. The clock on the wall showed 11:30 p.m. He was the only one left in the Seoul Genetics Research Center. His eyes burned from staring at DNA patterns for 12 hours straight. Just one more test, he told himself, rubbing his tired eyes. Jiho was 35 years old and one of Korea's top geneticists. He had spent years studying why some people got sick while others stayed healthy. Tonight, he was close to finding something important. Suddenly, the lights in the lab flickered. His computer screen went black, then came back on. Jiho frowned and looked around. Power problems were rare in this modern building. Then he saw it through the window. Strange lights in the sky. Not like planes or helicopters. These lights moved in ways that made no sense. They formed a perfect circle, then a triangle, then stopped completely. What on earth? Jiho whispered, walking to the window. The phone rang, making him jump. It was Kim Mina, his research partner. Jiho, are you seeing this? Turn on the news. Her voice shook with excitement. He grabbed the remote and switched on the small TV in the corner of the lab. Every channel showed the same thing. The strange lights now hovering over Seoul Tower. I'm coming over, Mina said. 20 minutes later, Mina burst into the lab. She was a brilliant genetic engineer who had worked with Jiho for 5 years. They're saying it's happening everywhere, she said, her eyes wide. New York, London, Beijing, everywhere. Before Jiho could answer, the TV signal changed. The face that appeared wasn't human. It had smooth gray skin, large black eyes, and no nose. Just 2 small holes. When it spoke, its thin lips barely moved, but everyone heard the words in their own language. People of Earth, we come in peace. We are the Stellar Confederation, a union of 32 space-traveling species. We have watched your world for many years. Now we wish to meet. Jiho and Mina stared at each other in shock. Is this real? Mina whispered. The next 12 hours were chaos. World leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert. And scientists like Jiho and Mina were called to help make sense of it all. 3 days later, Jiho stood nervously in a special meeting room at the United Nations building in Seoul. 5 aliens sat across from human representatives from different countries. Their leader, who called himself Commander Trell, was taller than the others. His skin had a slight blue tint. We offer friendship and knowledge, Trell said, his voice smooth and calm. Our medicine can cure your diseases. Our technology can solve your energy problems. And what do you want in return? Asked the American representative. Trell's large eyes blinked slowly. Very little. Mainly, we wish to study you. Humans are unique. We find your genetic structure fascinating. How so? Joe asked before he could stop himself. All eyes turned to him. Trell tilted his head. You are adaptable in ways we have not seen before. Your DNA shows interesting features. He means flaws, another alien added. Your species evolved in unusual ways. The room grew tense. Trell shot his companion a look, then smiled at the humans. We would like samples of human DNA for study, and we request scientific exchanges. We can learn from each other. After hours of discussion, the human representatives agreed to limited cooperation. As everyone prepared to leave, Trell approached Jiho. Dr. Han, the alien said, your work on genetic adaptation is impressive. We would like you to lead the human scientific team. Jiho felt a chill run down his spine. How did they know about his research? I would be honored, he said carefully. As he walked out with Mina, she squeezed his arm. Did you notice how they looked at us? Like we're lab rats. Jiho nodded. Yes, and I plan to find out why they're really here. Outside, the alien ship still hung in the sky, silent and waiting. 6 months had passed since the aliens arrived. The world had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Jiho now worked in a new building near Seoul, built specially for human and alien scientists to work together. Today, Jiho was checking DNA samples when Minna rushed into the lab. Her face was flushed with excitement. "You won't believe this," she said, waving a tablet. "We've been invited to their ship." Jiho set down his tools. "What? Who invited us?" "Commander Trell himself. He wants us to join their research team for 3 months. In space, Jiho. On their main ship." Jiho felt a mix of excitement and worry. The Stellar Confederation had kept most humans away from their ships. This invitation was rare and special. "Why us?" he asked. "They say our work on genetic adaptation is exactly what they want to study." Minna couldn't stop smiling. This is the chance of a lifetime. 2 weeks later, Jiho stood in a large meeting room with Minna and military officer Captain Park Do-hyun. World leaders from the Earth Coalition had insisted that a military person join the scientists. Do-hyun was young but serious, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "I don't trust them," Do-hyun said quietly. 6 months, and they still haven't shared any real technology. "They've helped cure 3 diseases," Minna pointed out. "Simple ones, nothing major." Do-hyun crossed his arms. "And they've collected thousands of DNA samples." Before they could argue more, the door opened. Commander Trell entered with 2 other aliens. "Dr. Han, Dr. Kim, Captain Park," Trell said smoothly. "We are honored you accepted our invitation. The shuttle leaves tomorrow." The next day, a small ship took them up to the massive alien vessel orbiting Earth. The shuttle ride was smooth, nothing like the rockets humans used. Jiho watched his home planet grow smaller below them. The main ship was enormous, like a floating city. Inside, they were given private rooms and a tour. Aliens of different species walked the hallways. Some looked almost human. Others were completely strange, with extra limbs or skin that changed colors. "There are 27 species here," their guide explained, "all part of the Confederation." As they toured the science section, Jiho noticed something odd. The aliens watched humans with special interest. When other alien species passed by, no one paid attention. But when humans walked through, conversations stopped. Eyes followed them. That night, in their private meeting room, Do-hyun shared the same observation. "Did you see how they look at us? It's different from how they look at each other." Minna nodded slowly. "I noticed that too. And something else. The other aliens seem afraid of us." "That makes no sense," Jiho said. "We're far less advanced." The next morning, they started work in the genetic lab. It was amazing, equipment years beyond Earth technology. Their alien colleagues were polite, but kept certain areas off limits. Dr. Len, a tall, thin alien with 6 fingers on each hand, showed them their stations. "We are studying how humans adapt to stress," Len explained. "Your species survives conditions that would kill most others." "Is that good or bad?" Jiho asked. Len's expression changed slightly. "It is unusual." As weeks passed, Jiho grew more suspicious. The aliens collected data but shared little. Once, he caught Len and Trell arguing in a corner. They stopped when they saw him. One evening, Jiho found Minna working late in the lab. "Look at this," she whispered, showing him her screen. "They're mapping all our genetic weaknesses." "Why?" "I don't know. But see this file? It's labeled Containment Protocols." Jiho felt cold. "We need to find out what they're really planning." Outside the window, Earth shone blue and green against the blackness of space. Suddenly, home seemed very far away, and possibly in danger. Defense Minister Lee Sun-woo stood in Korea's military command center, surrounded by screens showing news from around the world. The message from Jiho, Minna, and Do-hyun had arrived 12 hours ago, triggering emergency meetings across the globe. "How certain are we that this information is real?" asked General Park, his face grim. "The data contains codes only our team would know," Sun-woo replied. "It's from them, and the science checks out." On the main screen, Leaders from 28 countries were connected by video. The United Nations Secretary General spoke first. We have 3 days before the aliens begin their atmospheric modification. We must prepare. Scientists worldwide were already studying the data Joe had sent. What they found was both frightening and hopeful. The aliens planned to release particles that would change human DNA, making people calmer and less able to adapt to new situations. But Jiho's research also revealed a surprising truth. Human DNA contained hidden potential that even humans hadn't discovered. In a lab beneath Seoul, Dr. Kang Hyun was reviewing Jiho's findings with a team of geneticists. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a screen showing DNA patterns. "When exposed to certain light frequencies, these dormant genes activate." "What do they do?" asked a young scientist. "They enhance every human ability: strength, healing, even brain function." Dr. Kang looked up. "These aren't flaws in our DNA. They're emergency systems, evolved over thousands of years, but never needed." Across the world, military forces mobilized. But they knew their weapons might not work against the advanced alien technology. They needed a new approach. Sun Woo called a meeting of Korea's top scientists and military leaders. "We can't win with traditional weapons," he said. "But Geo's data shows us another way." He pointed to a diagram showing the aliens' physiology. They evolved in stable environments. Their bodies can't handle rapid changes in temperature, light, or sound. We need to use that against them. One scientist raised her hand. "Minister Lee, we've been studying the data on human DNA. We believe we can activate those dormant genes Geo discovered." "How?" Sun Woo asked. "A specific combination of light frequencies. It would be painful at first, but it could give our soldiers abilities beyond normal human limits." The room fell silent. Using untested genetic modification was risky. "Are there volunteers?" Sun Woo finally asked. "Every Special Forces unit has offered," General Park said. "They understand the risk." While Earth prepared, Jiho, Mina, and Do-yeon were taken to Commander Trell's private chambers. Unlike their previous confinement, this room had a large window showing Earth below. "Your message won't help them," Trell said. "Our ships will begin releasing the modification particles tomorrow, not in 3 days. I changed the timeline after your escape." "Why are you doing this?" Mina asked. "We've never threatened you." "Not yet," Trell replied. "But your species' potential is too dangerous. You adapt too quickly, solve problems too creatively. In time, you would surpass us all. So you'll change us without our consent." Jiho said. "Make us something we're not." "It's for the greater good of the galaxy," Trell insisted. "Unpredictable species bring chaos." Do-yeon laughed, surprising everyone. "You still don't understand humans, do you? The more you try to control us, the harder we fight back." Trell looked uncomfortable. "You 3 will watch as we begin the process. Then you'll be returned to Earth as examples of our improved human model." After Trell left, Geo moved closer to the window. Far below, he could see his home planet, beautiful and blue. "Do you think they got our message?" Mina whispered. "Yes," Jiho said confidently. "And I know Sun Woo. He'll have everyone ready." But Trell moved up the timeline. Do-yeon reminded them. "Earth only has until tomorrow." Jiho nodded. "Then we need to slow them down from here."